You're good.
You good? Okay.
Yeah, go
sweet.
back one slide.
Hey, oh, go back slide. Now where was I? LOL, rip, keck me, poke me in the coconut. Got hit in the neck with a hacky sack. Said Seagull's gonna come. But the Seagulls, they won't get my Seagulls. Alright, there are 3 types of jobs, talked about that. The problem with the government is the feudal class, because they can just do whatever, and they're so rich that they don't have to care about us. And the government is not going to do anything because all the politicians are rich. They don't care about the poor people, and the poor people can't do anything because the government is just going to cycle around whatever it wants to do at this point. The people who control the advertisements and the big businesses, their relatives are the people who run the advertising companies, so that they get a family discount for internal family business, and then it's all laws that they make themselves to keep their own money up at the top, while we keep giving them more and more money to do ridiculous things, as we are the ones who suffer for it. We are the 99%, we are the real majority, but we do not have a majority of the money, and that's the real problem in America today. And if we listened to Thorstein and Veblen back then, we might be a little bit more regulatory of our capitalist society, but I think we need to be a little bit less laissez-faire without destroying the rights of the individual, and look for new policies as an American people with actual representatives, with our values on making intelligent decisions, doing what's right at the time it's necessary, and not focusing our lives entirely on money and what the politicians want us to do. And today he's considered the founder of economic institutionalism and is one of the best historical critics of capitalism. And it went off the screen and I knew it was off the screen. Political impact, none other than a state of the sad truth about a recurring theme of uninterrupted capitalism and a waste of productive labor due to selfishness and poor organization of society. No formulas, but I do have some giraffes. There's a giraffe up here with its head cut off, just like my long-distant French relative who had his head cut off during the French Revolution. And and then there's a graph. Here's Phillips curve. This is one of his economic institutionalism and theory of flexible economics really laid the way for the Phillips curve, in that the Phillips curve will adjust. If it inflates a little bit, it'll go back to here because it's going to stay stable with with like that. And then here's the production curve. You can spend your money on butter. This is like butter and guns, like we learned first thing. Yeah. And then you can spend all your money on butter and useless stuff, or you can spend it on guns and actually productive things. He said that we spend too much money down here and not enough money up here, and that we do waste a lot more money down here than we need to, than we could be up here. Because you can still need to be happy, so you need to be like somewhere around here. But you don't want to have all your money down here. But when the rich people control all the money, they're always going to keep it down here as much as they can, because that's all they care about. Because their necessity is taken care of. Oh, here it is. It's the final clue. It's on the next slide, because too many class comments were added. And it's buffering, just like Patrick here. And E-C-O. Anybody want to guess? Economics. Economics is a fake science. It's all about how to make things look better than they are. It doesn't work, it's made up, and it only perpetuates the widening wage gap in a neo-feudalistic America. Yay! Oh, and I put some more overpriced things up here. Here's a screenshot of a post on 4chan, sold for $90,000 on eBay. So somebody took a picture of a screenshot on a computer and sold it for $90,000. Here's a Gucci men's slipper shoe. That thing is hideous. And it costs like $1,000. I bet they made that in like 2 minutes. I could make something better. And then here's a MacBook. That's like $3,000. That's also useless.
Nice.
So, the end, add plus comment, Bob Saget. Here's a picture of Shrek and Teletubbies in like 3D space. And you've earned it, congratulations. And a fat dude eating a giant. Bob Saget.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
That's very nice. I have 2 questions for you. One is, there's lots of nice criticisms of our current economic situation. In terms of answers, obviously there were lots of great, what if we didn't have some of these things like the leisure class and whatnot, what would be our motivator to work as hard as we can if it weren't to move forward and move upwards in a class, distinct in society?
Okay. So the question is, what would be our motivation to work harder and do more if we're not going to move up in society? I think that what we need to do to change instead of our motivation being to move up in society, that more people need to learn more about their lives instead of how to make money, and to put more of a value on self-reflection in society, so that people consider what's really going to make them happy rather than trying to fill the void with materials and money. And so if we can change our value system in society by instead of surrounding ourselves by media and material possessions and focusing on things that make us feel like we're going to be happy when we have them, if we can only have that one next thing, if more people could focus on ways to make themselves happier without having to be convinced that the only way to do so is to buy the next hair product, to buy the next line of fashion, to keep on top of it in social media, if we can become more aware of who we are and what really makes us happy rather than trying to fill a void, then our value system will change and we'll be more concerned about other people and caring for others rather than ourselves. And I think we're starting to see that change now that more people want socialism. However, I don't believe that the government should be the one to provide free healthcare, because the government has already proven that it's incompetent at 90% of everything it tries to do. And so if we're going to do that, I think that we should have a system where we have, instead of giving your money to the government to take care of it for social welfare, we should have private organizations approved by the government that manage your money for you, and then the money that you give them comes off a little bit more than it would off your taxes.
It sounds a lot like the Dalai Lama.
The Dalai Lama?
Yes. Because you're focusing on your happiness rather than your material world possessions.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff like that: philosophy, religion, morality, that sort of thing. And what was your second question?
My second question was, you talk about the family relationships between the upper leisure class and everyone else. Should we have then laws or rules restricting family members from either participating in the wealth of their parents or in the government/business structure of their parents? So should we have rules against that, because that promotes a more class distinction because
it's
family
within
members,
the family.
Yes.
Yes. I don't think we necessarily need to make family-based policies about that, but I do think that we need to put more taxation on the upper class. But the problem with that is that since they have so much money, they have enough power to say, don't tax us. And I think that we need to have more of the ability to create referendums so that the people can vote on their own laws rather than relying entirely on the politicians. In the state of California, I mean, they have like 58 referendums a year for their voting, or like even more than that. New York, we're not even allowed to propose laws to our own government, which I think is ridiculous, because we have to vote for people who have enough money in the first place to run for office, rather than be allowed to put our own laws on the ballot in the first place. And we need to have more of our own personal influence over the government to be more educated ourselves. And I think the media is a big problem with that. There's 6 companies that own 10,000 media outlets locally and stuff like that. They're all linked together and that sort of thing. And I think that that's very destructive to democracy, because then all the ideas are coming from very few sources. And if there's a very small amount of people deciding for us what we're going to see, what we're going to hear on a daily basis, and we don't know any better to shut it out, then it's basically mind control, and I don't think that's okay. And I think that we have the illusion of democracy, where we think that our protests and things are going to matter, when really they're not, because money isn't, or because your voice is in power, your money is your power, and that's the whole premise of capitalism. And there was I did a presentation on gun control a few years ago, and I cited Hitler on it. Hitler said in the book, the welding together of Germany did not happen through the high-mindedness of the Prussian princes. It happened through the power of the pin-firing missile. So he said, hey, we didn't conquer all of Europe by sitting down and talking about it. We conquered Europe by shooting them, because shooting people is power, talking isn't power. And you need to take your money and quit wasting it on so many things.